look at those rockets. I think they're spaceships, Rob. The aliens are coming to look at our buttholes. This is what we've been waiting for, Rob.
Yeah, but why is everybody else firing guns? I feel like we should be able to do that as well and have some fun.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's because aliens just look really scary. Or maybe it's because people are just afraid of having a giant finger crammed up their asshole. Either way, it's completely relatable for me. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think aliens are fun, and they can play with my asshole as long as they give me a courtesy reach around. I'll be happy.
I think all of this would be a lot easier to handle if we were really, really drunk. Let's get some Zima and get the hell out of here, Rob.
Hey, we're back. 2 guys, 3 testicles. Let's fucking get this party started.
Yeah, we're back from the war zone. You heard us there at the beginning of the episode. World War II. We were in the thick of it. Los Angeles.
Yeah, we had to go back in time a little bit. We had some fun.
Yeah, I'm the delicious Nicolicious.
And I am the robust Rob Dog.
I changed your name to Rob Diggity Dangle Dog.
That's fine. I'll take it.
You need to fucking get it straight, buddy.
All right.
We're really excited to be covering an alien episode tonight. We don't ever get to do alien episodes. Some people say, we don't listen when you talk about aliens. Well, we don't listen when you write us and tell us how much you love us.
Very true.
Very true.
Yeah.
Don't sing our praise. Don't love us at Tall Hot Blonde if you didn't love us at Battle of Los Angeles. You know?
So get your tinfoil hats ready because we're getting at it.
And I would like to say, basically, sometimes alien stuff is boring for me as well. But I want you guys to know that this is a fun story. There's a lot of government shiftiness around a lot, and it's not a... I feel like the Roswell story is a whole lot of facts, whereas this is a pretty strict story here.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty straight storyline. I think you guys are going to get a good story. You're going to get a good dose of Rob and Nick and Rob. You already heard the beginning when we were time traveling. You're going to get a news clip about moose poop here in a minute that you've probably all heard, but
it was so good we had to put it on here.
We're going to listen to it together.
Yes, we're going to experience this as a family.
We are, as one big gay happy family.
Yes, we are.
Well, I guess that was a little redundant. Just a happy family because gay and happy means the same thing.
Yeah,
unless you're Nick and Rob. And that means you're eating each other's butts.
It takes on a whole new meaning at that point.
And one thing I've been forgetting to touch on for several weeks now, in reference to the talk... No, I haven't forgot about that.
Okay.
Our friend Katerina Cagle,
mm-hmm.
she was the one that recommended the tall, hot blonde topic.
Right.
And I went and looked for it. I'm like, oh, that sounds good. I think I'll do that. And then about a month later, we covered it. And we forgot to thank her for the topic recommendation.
Thank you.
And that is one thing we love is when you guys send us topic recommendations. So if you have something you think that we should cover, send it to us. Send us an email, brohiopodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you want us to cover. Don't send, I think you should cover Mothman. Yeah, we will, probably eventually.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We will.
Sometime.
We like the off-the-wall stuff that people haven't heard of before. And that's what Katerina hit us with, was some shit that people haven't heard of before.
I liked it. That was a good one.
I licked it. I licked it a lot.
Well, yeah.
And I would like to say a big thank you to our new Patreon subscriber. Well, this is a Patreon-sponsored episode from Dustin Collins. And if you would like to have your very own episode, or if you would like to have your name announced at the beginning of an episode, or if you would like for me to come in your house and pee on your feet, go to patreon.com/brohiopodcast for one simple pledge of $1. You cannot save a child from starving in Africa, but you can help Brohio Podcast buy a bunch of cool stuff. We got projectors and speakers. We got live stuff. It's getting big here at Brohio.
We're doing big things. We're buying some nipple tassels next.
Yeah. If that's the way, I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah,
if we want to start doing, I think one thing people would like is if we on our YouTube channel we started doing product reviews of sex toys, and we just explain our experiences with them, just how they work, and I feel like that would do really well.
I'm all about it.
Yeah. Now, Dustin, he picked the Battle of Los Angeles, but he did give us a few different topics.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff, but he said, pick what you want. You know, if you
A goodie bag.
a goodie bag. We picked the Battle of Los Angeles because we haven't done an Alien episode in a long time. But first on our new list of Patreon subscribers is Justin Abate. Thank you so much for your Patreon pledge, Justin.
Next up, we have Fran Tiernan.
Tire Iron.
Tire.
Fran Tire Iron.
Thanks, Fran.
And next we have the Nature Boy, Rick De La Cruz. Rick De La Cruz, thank you so much for your Patreon pledge. Woo!
Next up, we got Craig Wilson.
Wilson.
Craig Wilson, thank you.
I love that movie.
That was a good one.
And a new one on here. I saw him. He liked one of our Patreon episodes. Preston Geppetto Genetto.
Geppetto. And last but definitely not least is Ryan Cronin.
Or as he was called in high school, Ryan Crotchich. Ryan, thank you so much for your Patreon pledge. We genuinely appreciate you guys. And this week, you caught another episode of Nick driving home from work. Hopefully tonight, Rob can stick around. We can make something cool tonight.
Oh, I'm always down to make something cool.
I don't know what your curfew is tonight.
I don't know either.
Me neither.
We'll figure that out. We'll go.
Usually we find out when it gets to about the 2 or 3 hour mark.
Right.
Better.
Yeah, if we start getting cussed out, then we know it's time to wrap up.
Time to pack this motherfucker up. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Now, we do have 2 live shows coming up. Tell them about it, Rob.
We do. I didn't even know. We do have 2 live shows coming up. October 20th, this is at Lucky Star Brewery in Miamisburg, Ohio. This is going to be a free show. Come hang out with us. It's a brewery. It's a good time. There's going to be spoops. There's going to be me and Nick. There's going to be beers. There's going to be murder and such. It's going to be a lot of fucking good times.
There's going to be a lot of stuff.
I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I'll tell you during the break, man.
And next, we have October 27th. This is Brohio's Twisted Hillbilly Halloween. This is at Firehouse Grill in Blue Ash. Not Blue Ass, but Blue Ash. And this is right outside of, that's the Cincinnati area. It's going to be a good one.
You ever had the blue ass before?
No.
Well, you're going to find out what it's all about come October 27th. And if you are there, there's a thing at the October 27th show. We got some new die cut stickers we're trying to get rid of.
Oh, yeah.
If you come up to us and tell us how Bill Wilkins died, where Bill Wilkins died, and if you ever listened to one of our episodes, you know that Bill Wilkins, he was 73 years old and he died in his own shit in his chair.
Mm-hmm. He did.
So say, hey, Bill died in his chair. We'll give you one of our free, our new die cut stickers.
And Jerry from Hillbilly Horror Stories will let you rub his head.
He'll let you eat him out. Yes. And one other cool thing, I tried ordering some maroon shirts, but for the live show, we're going to have black shirts with white Brohio logos. For
Keeping it sexy.
Because
I don't even have a black shirt.
No one has a black shirt.
No one has a black shirt.
Well, some of the people that have ordered from the Threadless site.
Yeah.
And if you are listening for the first time, go ahead and jump to about the 17, 18-minute mark. If you don't want to hear all these stupid shenanigans, maybe the 15-minute mark. I don't know.
We're flying by the seat of our dick right now.
Yep, they're little dicks, but they fly high. So we are going to stop and save real quick. All right, so what we have for you guys, we normally have a newspaper article.
Yeah, we're going above and beyond this week.
This time we have an audio clip. It's a news clip.
She's so enthusiastic about her own product, it's impossible not to share.
You might have seen it on the interwebs this week. It's
floating around.
It's a very manly-ish looking woman trying to start a business.
God bless her.
Dressing up
moose turds.
Moose shit and selling it.
Yeah.
She says, we'll ship that shit anywhere. And she's really got a good business model.
Oh, her pitch is great.
Dude, she's a salesman.
I'm buying. I've already ordered 6.
I'm going to roll this down. We're going to go ahead and listen to it.
All right, let's do it
now.
There's a lot going on at this Somerville home. There are 2 adults, 3 kids, more than 60 animals, including some fish, and a whole bunch of moose turds. Mary Winchenbach runs Turdy Works.
There it is.
Art made from the stuff that moose leave behind.
Everyone takes a crap. Everyone goes to the bathroom, so everyone can relate to that. And the terms that I use to name these products are everyday terms that, people are used to hearing and stuff. So it just kind of, you just try to, combine the two to come up with something halfway decent and funny, For example, the first thing that we make now, instead of a cuckoo clock, see, this is a poo-poo clock.
Poo-poo
and what we did see is we took them turds and we crammed them in between the number there, so that's 130, 230, 330.
That's just one of many products she offers.
So good.
Now over here we make fecal people. And depending upon the shape of them middle turds right there, we can do them with big boobs or guts or butts or long legs or short legs.
We get those made of us.
There's no 2 turds that are ever alike. Have you ever seen a turd, the 2 turds alike?
Guess not.
No.
Mary says half the battle is getting her product, but to do that, she doesn't have to travel far.
The turds are all local. We just go out and track the moose, and wherever the moose are, they're going to take a crap. And I have found that when a moose takes a dump, you walk about 50 yards in any direction and they take another dump.
It's a fairly simple and efficient business model.
And when a moose takes a dump, they'll crap out between 200 and 400 turds every time they take a crap. So it's like I get $5 a turd for these things. So I get jumping right up and down. I get excited when I see a turd.
Since going viral, she doesn't know what her next local stop will be, but she's upping her game with a new Turdy Works Facebook page to peddle her poop.
Get on there, and that's all my turds are on that page right there with the prices, and click on them, and then get to me and let me know what you need for turds, and I ship it everywhere.
Can we please get those made of us?
Well, what do you say?
Here's the news anchors. They're just falling apart.
They're losing it.
I went to college. I've never heard the word poop before.
You can make money any way you can find it, I guess, up in Maine.
That's Dan Brown, isn't it?
There it is.
Have you ever heard of the Ohio podcast?
Professional guys, I'll pull it together. All right.
Oh, she was quite the salesman, wasn't she?
She was.
We got turd cutters, corn shitters, butthole lickers, butt sex quitters, dick sitters. She don't swallow, she's a spitter. If she touches my nipples, I'm a hitter. Take off them overalls and show me that crotch critter. I put the poop in the bag. I put the poop in the bag. I like to dress up in drag. I like to dress up in drag.
We need to finish that.
Jeez, man.
Good for her, though.
Good for her. She says 2:30, 3:30, 4:30. It's like trying to teach a 5-year-old how to read a fucking clock. What the fuck, man? And
The American dream, man, to sell turds.
I guarantee she has so many fucking orders right now that she doesn't know what to do with her time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the first person that gets an order from her that we know of, let us know. I'm interested.
Yeah, you heard it. What was it? Well, I don't even remember the name of her company.
Turdy Works.
Turdy Works.
Facebook page. There you go.
Fantastic. You ever seen the movie Dirty Works? With Neil McDonald, and it's got Chris Farley in it, and he gets his nose bit off by a Vietnamese prostitute.
Norm McDonald.
What did I say?
Neil.
Yeah, same thing. Whatever.
No, I haven't seen that, though.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're ready to move on to the, as I like to call it, the meat and potatoes of the recipe, of the episode. Recipe, whatever. I'm an avid food person. I really love food. I really like a finger in my cornhole. I mean my cornflakes to stir up the sugar. Do you ever put my little brother does this.
Okay.
He takes frosted flakes
Mm-hmm.
and he pours a big bowl with milk, and then he gets a side of peanut butter, and he dips the cornflakes, the frosted flakes, in peanut butter before he takes a bite. So you get the milk, peanut butter, and frosted flakes all at once.
Never done that. Never heard of it.
It's tremendous. And then tonight,
It sounds horrible.
No, it is delightful. And then tonight,
Okay.
at the ice cream shop, we were ordering our ice cream, and we've kind of been giving my older daughter kind of a little more freedom when it comes to things.
Yeah.
And we kind of let her order her own food. She gets dressed without asking us what she needs to wear in the morning. So I said, just get whatever you want. And she's like, I have a peanut butter and marshmallow milkshake. I'm like, what is that? What? What did you just order? Peanut butter and marshmallow milkshake. And she got it. I was like, I'm going to need to get me a drink of that real quick.
I got to make sure it's not poisonous.
Oh, dude, that was a fucking rip right there, buddy.
Was it good?
That was fantastic.
Nice.
It was delightful.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
It was very good. So, this is obviously this is an episode about a government cover-up / alien invasion / UFO sighting.
Right, a sighting. Yeah.
One of the biggest UFO sightings that you've never heard of.
Yes.
So, before there was Roswell, before there was the Falcon Lake incident, and before there was the Barney and Betty Hill incident, there was a little-known incident called the Battle of Los Angeles, or the Great Los Angeles Air Raid. This incident stands to be the first and only time that we, as a country, made a physical contact with extraterrestrials that resulted in physical force being used by our military.
Whew.
Now, this is the first time that I've ever read a story where our government is essentially firing upon
Yeah, where weapons were used
UFOs
and potential defense.
extraterrestrials. And I did learn, I kept on reading about AA. They're calling them AA rounds. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's anti-aircraft. Yes. So if I do say AA, those are just big fucking bullets and shit shot from the ground trying to take down anti-aircraft shit.
That's the good stuff.
It is the good stuff. Now, and just recently, and I'm gonna do a bit of a build-up here to kind of talk about, there's, I guess, recent occurrences where our government has said, yeah, we've seen some stuff, and thanks to the Freedom of Information Act,
We've seen some shit, man.
listen, dude, we know what you guys are thinking. We know what you're thinking, that, oh, we're lying. Yeah, we are lying, but we gotta tell you something completely different, or it'll scare the fucking shit out of you. And ultimately, I think that's what the government is doing in most of these instances, is they don't want the American people to know that there actually is something, because then that's just one more thing to worry about when you live your daily life. And hey, they're possibly get invaded by fucking aliens today. Al Qaeda, not a big deal. Russia, that's fine. And speaking of Russia, what we should have played is that Darren, was it Derek Lewis or?
Oh yeah.
His
The best post-fight interview ever.
His interview from the UFC fight. Me and Rob watched that together.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic.
Joe Rogan, why'd you take off your shorts? My balls was hot.
We've all been there.
Hey, it happens.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
And just recently, our government has come forward about recent occurrences where they have had near aerial conflicts with UFOs. Just as recent as March of 2018, to the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, an organization ran by She Said Yes, and I told her that she didn't know. Tom DeLonge of Blink-182 fame released a video that shows a Navy FA-18 Super Hornet that captures an unknown object traveling at a very high speed.
Where are you?
I love Tom DeLonge. I mean, he's
too.
a fucking weirdo now, but
He's great. I love him.
yeah, he's got something going on, man. He
just knows. Maybe he just knows.
To the start, and they used the Freedom of Information Act to obtain this video of this craft. Okay, that's these Navy pilots are flying the Super Hornet, and they see this like long cylinder thing just fucking zipping under them,
whizzing by them,
just flying. They're like, "What the?" And you can hear them in the cockpit. You can hear them talking to one another in the cockpit, and they're like, "What the fuck is that? Oh my god!" And I would have played it, but I was way too lazy to download it. You can look it up. Now, like I said, the video was obtained via the Freedom of Information Act, coming by way of the Department of Defense. The Pentagon declined to comment on the video that was obtained. To the Stars Academy is calling it unidentified aerial phenomena. They have a guy on their staff named Luis Elizondo, and he is the former head of Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program that was eventually it was being funded.
It was a government program.
It was, and then they shut it down. The program was launched in 2007. We're talking about the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Now, this program was launched in 2007 after Senator Harry Reid spoke to Robert Bigelow about the truth behind UFOs. And you may remember the name Robert Bigelow because he is the owner of the now fucking fortress Skinwalker Ranch. So we talked about that in the Skinwalker Ranch episode. There's definitely some fuck shit going on there.
Definitely.
That's the epicenter of aliens and Bigfoots. That's where Thud came from. He's got a big old swinging dick. That's the thing you got to worry about. When these aliens are coming down, man, you got to wonder, like, hey, they got big old, they got big rods, or they got big old, big slimy cock pockets. What do they got? You got to figure it out.
I like the term cock pocket.
So when they walk up to you, you just got to get them the old Donald Trump, reach down and grab them by whatever it is.
I just imagine them being like smooth down there.
Really smooth, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
kind of slippery.
Freshly waxed.
Like a Ken doll.
Have you ever had your genitals waxed before, Rob?
No, I haven't. I don't know if I would like that.
I would have to imagine that would be exceptionally painful.
Yeah, I don't like that.
See, my problem is I don't like ingrown hairs.
Right.
That could potentially end my life. And I talked about that at one point. Shaving against the grain with a razor on your penis that's worse than that's terrible. Okay, that's really bad for you, for your love life. I wouldn't recommend it. So
I'm a pro.
I'm not. Moving on, among the anomalies the program studied were video and audio recordings of aerial encounters by military pilots and unknown objects, as well as interviews with people who said they had experienced physical encounters with such objects. And it was confirmed by the government, after they shut it down, that the program was funded by black money.
That's racist.
It's very racist. Now, what's cool is the head of that department, the Luis Elizondo. He's now one of the heads at the To the Stars Academy. So
Yeah.
he definitely knows some stuff.
He knows his shit for sure.
And it just and the government said, yeah, we had a program that they didn't have any word on this video itself. I think they were I think they did release something that said they were, you know, they were a little peeved that they were able to obtain this video, but they said we have no comment, which is normally something they.
Right, you can't. You don't have a excuse for it at the time.
They can't play the old "that's a fucking weather balloon" anymore.
Yeah,
because that shit doesn't work when you've got
those weather balloons have ran their course.
They have.
That's always the excuse.
It is. Now, the incident we are discussing in this episode took place late in the night of February 24th into the early morning hours of the next day, February 25th, and this happened in 1942. Immediately, what I thought of, this was the same time as the Roswell crash.
Mm-hmm.
Off the top of my head, I did not know when the Roswell crash occurred, but
yeah, same decade.
The Roswell crash occurred in 1947, but the incident we're talking about is 1942.
Yeah, so it predates.
So when Roswell did happen, America might have had a little bit of experience as far as covering this shit up.
Exactly.
And they didn't do the best job of covering up this or Roswell. And what both of these have in common are just, well, not necessarily Roswell, but this incident, the Battle of L.A., has an overwhelming amount of witnesses. Hundreds, thousands of people saw what they saw that night. And the government's trying to say, you did. You didn't see that.
And there was casualties too, which is...
There was casualties, but not from the gunfire.
Right.
You heard in the beginning of the episode, Rob, we were under intense gunfire at the Battle of L.A.
We made it out.
We did make it out.
We dodged.
With, what was his name, Stone Phillips? Was he the one that did he's like, we were under sniper fire? No, that might have been Hillary Clinton. I love when they get on the journalists get on there and they lie.
That Anderson Cooper?
Yeah, I think it might have been him. They've all done it.
I think it was Anderson Cooper, yeah.
We were under intense sniper fire when we got out of the helicopter. What cred does that give you? You're not a fucking Marine recon out here fucking, jumping out of planes.
It's the dramatics.
Thank you to our fucking service members that are serving and listening to the Brohio podcast.
Slinging that big dick.
Slinging bullets down the range.
Yeah.
Killing fucking terrorists. And all the other stuff you do in the military. I know there's a lot of sitting around in the military sometimes, but then there comes a time to fucking kill.
We just want to imagine that you just do cool shit like that all the time.
Yeah. Now, to say that America was on high alert about this time in our nation's history would be an understatement.
Definitely.
Because a little over just 2 months before that was the infamous day that the Imperial Japanese Navy Air Service waged an attack against the U.S. we all know as the attack on Pearl Harbor. Every corner of America was on guard and was ready for and presumed another attack at this point. And that was what the government was beating into the head of the American people was, hey, there's going to be more attacks like this. There's going to be more, we don't know the threats that we're facing. And I was reading about some of the, I guess, experimental warfare tactics some of these other countries were using. Japan nearly had a fucking submarine that carried jets. Okay, that's fucking terrifying.
That's wild.
I read some stuff. The Nazis had ran into fucking aliens, and they had UFO technology.
Yep,
didn't pan out. Hitler blew his fucking brains out in a bunker somewhere, or maybe he didn't. Go back in our catalog. We got a little episode about that. You can check that out.
You never know.
You never know. Actually, he is. I think in that episode we found out that he's got a body double.
Yeah, he does.
It's Avril Lavigne.
And a tiny little wiener.
A tiny little. Oh yeah, he's got a deformed dick. He's got the faucet dick.
It's so sad.
His pee hole is on the bottom of his head dick.
Right.
So it's like a faucet. It comes out and then it comes straight down.
I mean, I wonder if it helps with like the after sex pisses.
When you're getting ready to blow. Oing, oing. Yeah. And it just shoots right back out at you. Now, December 9th, 1941, there was, I guess, an incident I read about. It happened in New York. There was approaching aircraft that America wasn't able to identify. And like I said, this happened in New York, and this caused stocks to plummet that day. So there was a, I guess this is a very similar style attack. It's not very publicized, the one that happened in New York. But this is about the same time when we were having just rogue jets coming over into American soil.
Everybody was just on high alert and scared and just worried about what would happen next.
And just the fact that seeing an unidentified jet or plane caused our entire stock market to fucking crash in one day.
Yeah.
Says a lot about just how serious the country was taking these threats. And no one is ever ready for a world war.
No.
That's something I hope we never have to experience in our lifetime. The thought of a world war right now, terrifying.
Oh, absolutely.
They would tear this motherfucker up.
Yeah.
Kim Jong-un, just this week, he said, "You'll come see missiles." They said, "We can come over. We can send inspectors over now and make sure he's gotten rid of all of his shit." Because you know what? You can't hide that stuff, Rob. You can't hide things like that, like rockets and bombs and stuff. You got to keep that stuff in a shed, like a wooden shed right by your nation's capital.
With the glass roofs you can see inside.
Yes, and glass walls too. We want complete transparency.
Yeah, they definitely wouldn't move them and hide them anywhere else.
So a part of being on high alert, America, they were pulling the trigger on everything. So that when we look at this incident here, the Battle of Los Angeles, some say, well, they were trigger happy. Well, they were a little trigger happy because there was times about the same time where they were blowing up fishing boats. They were fucking killing whales. There was fucking logs in the ocean they were firing on. All this stuff that's just out off the coast. And obviously that's where all the threats are going to come from, is from the West Coast and the East Coast. I would have to imagine during this. So
putting your tax dollars to work.
Yeah,
blowing up fucking logs in the ocean.
Whales.
Fuck that whale.
Yeah.
In particular.
Submarine. They were watching the coast. They're doing everything they can to protect the American people, and they're fucking blowing everything up. Now, the U.S. Secretary of War, Henry Stimson, warned that American cities should be prepared to accept, quote, occasional blows from enemy forces. I'll take it. I'll take the occasional blow. I like the more sustained blow, but I'll take the occasional blow if you don't mind.
I take what I can get.
Right. Just a few days later, on February 23rd, I'm talking a Japanese submarine surfaced off the coast of Santa Barbara, California, and hurled over a dozen artillery shells at an oil field and refinery. While the attack inflicted no casualties and caused only minor damage, it marked the first time that the mainland United States had been bombed during World War II.
Yeah, I actually saw some of the pictures from that. It's excuse me. It's pretty crazy. It just did a lot of damage to the woodworking on the structures there. But yeah, luckily it didn't kill anybody. I
didn't know anything. I've never heard about this attack before. This was completely new to me, and we've talked about this. That's one thing we love about this podcast, is all the cool stuff we get to learn.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit into history. I used to get a solid C in history in school because I knew my shit a little bit, but not all the way. Kind of like right now, when you listen to this podcast, you expect us to make horrible mistakes for the most part.
No, we do.
We do make very bad mistakes. Sometimes it's on purpose. Yeah. Sometimes it's not on purpose, but we make it sound like it's on purpose, so we don't look like complete fucking assholes.
You never know with us.
You never know.
We try to keep you guessing.
And I would like to slide in one thing right here. Okay?
Slide it in.
we are going to call this a mid-roll advertisement.
Okay.
Because we don't do advertising, but we got 2 free wallets from the Ridge Wallets, and I told them, I said, hey, we'll do 2 plugs for you if we like the product. Here we are. We've had our wallets for several weeks now, Rob. What do you think of your wallet?
My wallet's killing it. Still holding up.
Yeah.
I haven't bent or broke the shit out of it yet, so
that's good. These
sturdy.
Wallets could be ran over by an Abrams tank, fucking blown up by a grenade, and still go in your pocket with no fucking damage at all.
Yeah, I got a big old donk ass, so anytime I have a wallet in my pocket, it automatically destroys it.
I for sure got an apple bottom.
Yeah, so.
Now, these wallets are pretty, like, if you are someone that likes to carry your wallet on your ass and your ass only, this might not be the perfect wallet for you. But if you're someone that likes to have the security of having your wallet in your front pocket like me, because someone can walk up behind you, a predator, walk up and snatch it up out your ass.
Especially when that booty's looking juicy.
Yeah.
You don't want that thing to get stolen.
Got them affliction jeans on. I'm going to go with some Ed Hardy, motherfucker. But if you would like to check out Ridge Wallets, you can go to ridgewallet.com. Use the promo code BROHIO10. We get absolutely nothing for that.
No, do it though. It's worth it.
He said that we'll give you guys a 10% promo code you can pass along. I said, you don't have to do that, but great. We're happy to endorse your product. Back to the story, Rob.
All right.
So we're going to replay this incident, the Battle of L.A., as a skeptic at this point.
Okay, sure.
Because initially when I was doing all my research, I was like, man, this is kind of a bogus fucking story. But then I started to dig a little more and just grabbing things here and there and checking out all the different witnesses' accounts. And I said, hey, we might have something here. This might be the first time that the government officially had to cover up a UFO, like contact with a UFO.
Yeah, something definitely happened.
Weather balloon, Rob.
Yeah, no, not buying that.
So fast forward to the middle of the night last night. My wife fell asleep and I was jerking off smelling her hair. That's so nasty. Fast forward to the middle of the night after the submarine deal. Not the next night after the sub. This is like a couple weeks after the submarine attack. This is at February 25th at 2 a.m. where the submarine attack actually happened at. February 23rd was a submarine attack.
Okay,
so
2 days later.
Yeah. The military radar picked up what appeared to be an enemy contact some 120 miles west of Los Angeles. Air raid sirens sounded and a citywide blackout was put into effect. And that's one thing that's weird for me.
Yeah, this is really weird.
It's kind of scary that that's the way they do it. Just, hey, all the lights in the city, they're going out.
Complete blackout, so everything went out.
But that goes along with, I guess, when you try to debunk the story, it's hard to do that because you had complete darkness that night.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone was able to see what was happening up in the sky that night.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And there were hundreds of people that came forward that said, you guys weren't dealing with the weather balloon. You were dealing with something else.
Yeah, definitely. The only light they had was the searchlights. So the big old spotlights that they were shining at, at that area.
Yeah. Now, for me, like I said before, I really hope we never have to deal with a world war at any point in our life.
Yeah, me too.
And what these people were experiencing at this time, I can't even imagine, because the Pearl Harbor thing was weighing on everybody. That was over 2,400 deaths that essentially catapulted the United States into war. And a lot of people say they wanted to be in that war, they needed to be in that war. I play the role of skeptic in some of these, like the 9/11 stuff. People say, "Oh, it was an inside." Well, show me concrete proof where it was an inside job, and then I will believe that it was an inside job. But for me right now, I think fucking terrorists flew the planes into the buildings. You might not agree with me. I think there's a lot of questionable stuff about that incident.
Oh, definitely. No doubt.
Whereas the same thing with World War II. I think America was attacked by the Japanese army, and they had a duty to fucking flatten the Japanese army, they had a lot of people on their side, and America had to go through them to fucking flatten Japan, and they did what they set out. They said,
"Hey,
you want this big old American Eagle dick? You about to get this big old American Eagle dick."
Boy, did we deliver.
We got fat boy, little boy, whatever the fuck they're the name of the fat man and little boy. Yeah,
something like that.
The bombs.
Yeah.
That's why I scream right before I flush the toilet. But on the morning of February 25th at around 3 a.m., according to varying accounts, some type of visual contact was made with an unknown threat. This thing was not zipping through the sky. This thing was hovering in the sky.
Yeah, it was remained in the same spot.
Now there was, if you decide to research this topic yourself, there were some there were 2 weather balloons that were launched in or around that area that night. But weather balloons at that time were just as common as an airplane in the sky is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So they had dozens of spotlights on whatever aircraft was hovering over where this all took place. The scary part for me was once this thing, so it was approaching from 120 miles out, whatever this aircraft was. We were able to pick it up on radar, and once it got to the Los Angeles area, it completely vanished off of radar, but they were able to maintain contact, like visual contact, with whatever it was over the mainland. So it's hard to speculate what an advanced alien race, what type of technology they would have, what type of technology they would have had back then.
Mm-hmm.
But to say that if they are an advanced race, to say they had something that they're cruising in, they realize like, oh, we're getting picked up by radar, flip the switch off the fucking radar. It's not
right, or not even that. I mean, it also could be the fact that maybe whenever let's play. You go through the scenario as if it really is aliens. If they would have entered our atmosphere above the ocean and we're going towards land, you're going to see water, and then all of a sudden you see land and things moving, and who knows what it's going to do. It could stop and observe, and at that point in time, that's when it's like, oh, we need to hide ourselves. You don't know how they would react.
God, it's so fucking scary.
Yeah,
that there's possibly something up there with enough brains to do something like that.
Yeah,
and that's what's scary for me, is I'm not a super big extraterrestrial believer, alien guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think the concept is fun.
Oh, absolutely.
I love Stranger Things. That's kind of an alien type thing. It's one of my most favorite shows ever. I wore my 11 Eggo shirt today, actually, as a matter of fact.
It's so good.
But what's scary for me is how advanced whatever is up there, how far advanced it would have to be to achieve all the things that we think it's done to us so far.
Right.
Or for the sheer fact that it can come down here and go unavoidable. And we talked to, in our alien abductions episode, we talked to Michael Minkin, and he said, when you are walking the streets, you're walking next to them. They're everywhere. And I said, well, that's fucking crazy to think about, that if they've, as far back as the 40s, they are able to come onto our mainland here and hover over one of the biggest cities in the entire world and just take direct fire. We haven't talked about that, but take direct fire from the ground and just keep hovering off a radar. Then it's unfathomable to think what they can do right now.
Yeah, and I got a point once we get to that spot of the story that I kind of want to touch on.
Now, at this point, they have visual contact with whatever alien aircraft is hovering over Los Angeles. It's vanished off radar, but there are literally hundreds and thousands of people that they observed several different things. The ground troops, because this is a heavily armed area being on the West Coast, because if you're going to get hit by Japan, it's going to happen on the West Coast, and obviously the attack from the submarine a day before that.
Yeah, it's going to put you on alert.
It's going to put you on alert, but you're going to have arms ready and at your disposal at a second's notice.
Yep.
So the ground troops, they began to pepper the sky with 50 caliber rounds from machine guns in an attempt to neutralize whatever enemy threats were in the sky. And if you've ever played Grand Theft Auto before, you can shoot down a fucking helicopter with a fucking machine gun.
Yes, you can.
It can happen, dude. All the defense systems were put into place along the LA coastline, were launched into action. We had the anti-aircraft artillery there on the ground. They're shooting fucking shrapnel in the air. At this point, reports come roaring in describing Japanese aircraft flying in formation, bombs physically falling out of the sky. This is what the people were reporting that were there and observed. And they even reported paratroopers fucking falling out of the sky from the heavens. So,
Jesus.
there was one report that a plane physically crashed in the streets of Hollywood. So we've got complete fucking anarchy, okay?
Yeah, it's chaos.
Excuse me. Now, all of this stuff is pouring in. All of these reports are coming in. One coastal artilleryman named Charles Patrick would later confirm there was definitely something in the sky that they were firing upon. Quote, he said, "I could see 6 planes," and this is a service member. He said, quote, "I could see 6 planes and shells were bursting all around them. Naturally, all of us fellows were anxious to get our 2 cents worth in, and when the command came, everybody cheered like a son of a gun." Now, a lot of people were calling it a magic lantern that was suspended in the sky, and if you subscribe to the weather balloon story that the U.S. government was putting out there, then the magic lantern thing would probably go along with what the government wants you to believe.
Mm-hmm. And here, this is kind of the point that I wanted to touch on, and this in my mind kind of is what puts a little bit of shadow of doubt there. Originally thinking about this, if you want to completely wipe out the idea that it could have been an alien spacecraft, you're going to think either weather balloon, or my initial thought was you're going to think of a secret. Like a secret airplane, secret flight program that they're developing in development,
like an experimental aircraft.
Yeah,
type.
Experimental aircraft. But my thing is if that was the case, why would they be wasting all of the rounds trying to take it down?
Yeah, but then sometimes when I was reading about, so there's like all the different security clearances. I think I'm not super well versed in this stuff, but I know like Yankee White is one of the highest ones.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's one that's like 2 or 3 steps above that called Magic, like MAJIC.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether that was just something that was perpetrated by the Majestic 12 files that were released that we will talk about a little later, I don't know. But as for what just a private first class in the Army or in the Navy, whatever, working on the West Coast, he just got fucking drafted into the military after the Pearl Harbor attacks. Those guys aren't going to know about super experimental aircraft.
Right, yeah, definitely.
And the time you're going to want to do an experimental aircraft is going to be in the middle of the night on the West Coast at 3 a.m. I wouldn't imagine the blackout would have helped their cause very much at that point.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to disguise whatever you're trying to do, but nonetheless, the blackout was enacted, and
you would have still thought that they would have, that commands would have came through not to fire.
Oh,
if
sure.
If it was definitely a government project.
I completely agree. But on the other hand,
who knows?
No one. It's all about being in the know.
Yeah,
and I'm a firm believer that as far as secrets of the U.S. government, there's a lot of stuff that the presidents don't know about. I think
definitely, yeah.
There's I think there's certain secrets that die with certain people,
mm-hmm.
and everyone, I don't care who you are, everyone is nosy.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants to know the truth, and I think it's I think at this point right now, the truth is we don't know a lot of the truth when it comes to certain things. And I don't want to sound like a crazy person. But not even in terms of aliens and shit. I think there's a lot of things we don't know about war, about fucking gun control, about
government itself,
mental health care. There's a lot of shit we don't know. Like, you can tell me we landed a fucking aircraft on the moon, which I don't. If you believe the moon landing was fake or whatever, that's fine. We landed a fucking aircraft on the moon, and we have all these vaccinations. We stopped fucking polio. We stopped all this shit, but we can't combat cancer. We can't cure cancer yet. All the shit that we have invented, all the huge milestones we've achieved as Americans, the scientists, how far forward they've come. You can fucking order food on your phone and have it to your front door.
Right.
Your grandma and grandpa, when they were dating and they weren't living together and they were talking on the phone, your grandma Frances, she used to take the phone and she would get her pussy really wet and then she would start rubbing the phone on her fucking puss. And that's how your grandpa and your grandma, that's how they got fucking hot and heavy on the phone.
Yeah.
Back in, the 50s or the 60s or whatever. But now, no. You could take a full fucking color picture of your asshole and send it to someone in fucking 3 seconds. Okay? And that person can, as fucking much as you think they're saying, oh yeah, look at that asshole. They're really judging your asshole. They're saying, wow, there's some real discrepancies on that asshole right there. Is that an ingrown hair? Look at that. Is that a busted vein? I think there's a fucking hemorrhoid hanging out of that asshole.
That asshole looks depressed.
That asshole has been tore out of the frame. Someone needs to stitch that asshole up and put it back because it's falling out.
It's the saddest butthole ever.
We can do that stuff, Rob. They can use a laser to cut toenails off your feet. But we don't have a fucking cure for cancer yet. It doesn't make any fucking... Return the frickin' frogs, gay! It's not only cancer. There's just a lot of different things. We don't know the truth about everything.
Very true.
We absolutely don't.
No, not at all. We don't know anything.
Fucking talk to your grandma about how they used to have phone sex. And she'll tell you.
I'm sure it won't be an uncomfortable conversation at all.
I used to get it real juicy on there. We used to turn on some Frank Sinatra and just start beating that mouthpiece against my pussy, and I could hear your grandpa jacking off there. We're about 400 or 500 miles away from each other, and I just keep on slapping that phone on my pussy.
Grandma ruined so many phones.
I waterlogged so many pieces of telephone. I used to have to put my telephone in rice and dry it up because my pussy gets so wet. We drank a lot of water back then. We didn't have soda yet, so I used to get so moist. God. People don't like that word, Rob.
I don't really like it either.
Oh, God. So this magic lantern thing, they see...
And we're right back into it.
They think they see a fucking magic lantern. They were all smoking the marijuanas. But here's where the story gets sketchy, all right? They had fucking searchlights. Dozens of them, all right? But no matter how much they fired at this magic lantern that they had completely illuminated by all these searchlights. And there was an article in, the picture they published in the LA Times. There's a fucking spacecraft up in the air.
Yeah.
And there's 1,000 searchlights pointed at this thing.
Yeah, there's a ton of searchlights pointing to it.
And the government's like, that's a fucking weather balloon. No, that looks like a flying fucking saucer there, Jack.
Right, yeah. Weather balloons, first off, weather balloons don't hover.
No.
They move with the wind. They will move, in general, they're fucking balloons.
Balloons are what you put heroin in, and you put it in your pussy, and that's how you sneak heroin into prison.
Yeah, exactly. This
I learned that the hard way.
It's always weather balloons. That's the go-to excuse, but it's never weather balloons.
Back then it was. Now it's like, oh, we got no comment. You got us this time.
Right.
But they have, in the picture, the cover picture, that's what I'm going to use as the cover art for this episode. They literally have dozens of searchlights fixated on whatever this object is in the sky. And for the government to say, well, it was nothing. There was nothing up there. It was just a figment of your fucking imagination.
And you can see the lights on the thing.
I know there was something up there. My grandma was on the phone, but I was outside watching. She was on the phone for a long time, but I was out there watching. I saw something in the sky, and there was hundreds, and there was thousands of people that said there was something in the sky. I don't know, we don't know what it was.
Yeah, they try to say it was like a lot of overactive imaginations on that. It's like, come on.
What the fuck you talking about, bro? And then the thing about a balloon, you start shooting fucking anti-aircraft rounds at it and 50 cal rounds.
It's coming down.
You're gonna tear that motherfucker up.
Right.
It's like one of those balloons at the birthday party floats into the popcorn ceiling. That bitch is getting popped. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's gonna get popped. And one quote says, "It was huge." We're talking about my dick right here. "It was huge. It was just enormous, and it was practically right over my house. I had never seen anything like it in my life," she said. It was just hovering there in the sky and hardly moving at all. It was a lovely pale orange and about the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. I could see it perfectly because it was very close. It was big. Now back to the alien stuff. We'll talk about my wiener for a second. Now they fired at this balloon for over an hour.
Fucking balloon.
There was nothing there, but they just fired for an hour.
It's like the fucking balloons at the carny tents you gotta throw darts at.
Yeah.
I can't fucking hit it.
Yeah, you see the Facebook video of the carny running by and the little kid hits him in the fucking temple with the dart?
No.
He says, "It's fine, baby. I got your way." She's trying to win a prize, and she fucking draws back and lets one go, and he runs right in front of her right as she throws it. He takes a fucking steel tip right in the temple.
Well, that's what he gets.
It does.
What an idiot.
It's fine, baby. I'm all hyped up on methamphetamines right now anyways.
Yeah, what do you expect?
I can't feel a motherfucking thing. They dispensed nearly 2,000 rounds of anti-aircraft ammo at the completely dark sky.
And that's not cheap, I would assume.
It doesn't matter. It was war. Fire those fucking guns, buddy.
Yeah. Bottomless pockets there.
Completely, and I would like to reiterate, it was a completely dark sky. Okay, there was a fucking blackout. And if you've ever been, and these cities aren't like they weren't how they are now.
Yeah.
In LA, you can't fucking, there is no sky. There's a smog, and it goes from lighter smog to darker smog, and then you wake up, and then you go to sleep, and the fucking sky doesn't really change that much. Now, here in Ohio, we can go outside and we can see the stars. But light pollution is a big thing in major cities where there's so many lights from the city that it's hard to see what is up in the sky. Not during a complete fucking blackout, because you can. That's the whole thing, is they wanted to be able to see what was in the sky.
There's no light at all, so.
Now this, like Rob said, there were casualties. There were no casualties struck by the bullets that night. So that fucking thing they were shooting at in the sky, it didn't die. But shrapnel fucked shit up all over the city.
Yeah, bad.
They blew up a goddamn house in a country club. This is just stuff, the remnants of the shit coming out of the sky that they were firing.
That's just rich white people. It's okay.
They fucking broke windows and destroyed cars all over the city. It was reported that at least 5 people had died as a result of heart attacks
God damn it.
and car accidents that occurred during the extended blackout. I fucking hope it was LA, man. They're living fast and free and hard. I know some of those people were getting roadhead and just like
just popping and doing an 8-ball.
All of it happening at once. Just
yeah.
Too much. She said, my heart's done.
She couldn't take the excitement.
Just gotta fucking blow it. I'm done.
And sometimes you got to.
Yeah. And next to my notes here is the reference to the LA Times, the beam photo, and that's what we were just talking about a minute ago.
Yeah.
They have all these lights, and I'm going to use it, like I said, as the cover art. But there's no disguising what is in that picture. They can say, they didn't have fucking Adobe Photoshop back then.
Very true.
They had crayons. Crayons are fancy, I guess. My kids love to eat crayons. But there was certain ways, they adjusted the contrast, they adjusted the lighting in the photo, I guess, but undoubtedly in this photo using the LA Times, and there's even videos from that night that you can watch on YouTube. They're a little grainy, they're a little slow, but I watched. You gotta
have a reel-to-reel player.
Yeah, but I did watch them, and clear as day, there is some type of activity going on in the sky.
Right.
Whether it is a fucking UFO, whether it is a weather balloon that's been lit on fire.
It kind of, and I have to look at it again, but it kind of looked like a triangular aircraft to me.
It does, but the crazy fucking thing about the video is
with circular lights.
It's just absorbing all the shit.
Yeah.
It's just hovering there, and the smoke you're seeing around whatever is up in the sky could very well be this thing, like I said, absorbing the rounds that's taken. And it just fucking ricocheting off, or catching them and eating them and farting them back out down to the earth and blowing up. Grandma's down there on the phone trying to talk to Grandpa and blowing houses up and shit. It's all 10 times of fucked up,
Yeah.
And in typical American fashion, they started to corral all the Japanese American citizens in the area. They said, and I fucking hate this about World War II. We did some fucked up shit to the Japanese, but granted, the Japanese did some fucked up shit to America.
Yeah.
But for all the talk about concentration camps and Unit 731, all that shit,
Yeah.
America did some really foul shit to the Japanese.
What they did here makes no sense at all.
Right. So they corralled all the Japanese in the area, and they accused them of signaling the planes that were in the air. Like, fucking, there's just... So what the American government essentially was saying is, all of these planes and these aircrafts that weren't really in our sky, that weren't really there, they were being signaled by people on the ground. Hand signal, flashlights, hand signals. Oh, you'll go this way. No, you'll go that way. Well, I'm this way. So that's what the American government was. That's what they said. They said there was nothing in the sky that night, but these Japanese Americans, they were signaling to them from the ground. So they corralled all the Japanese Americans, and they, I guess, put them in camps, put them in jail. But this goes along with Pearl Harbor as well. They had a rough go, the Japanese Americans did, after Pearl Harbor as well. Fucking holes all over the story, man. Not holes for us, not holes for what we're trying to achieve. Like we said, we're trying to portray it as skeptics, but it's hard to be skeptic about something that's got so many fucking holes in the story, you know? So these planes that never existed, they say did exist, even though they didn't exist. Now, over the next few days, this is where the different branches of the military start to walk on one another and give varying accounts of what happened that early morning. The Secretary of the Navy, Frank Cox, a.k.a. Frank Knox, would portray to the media that this incident was nothing more than jittery nerves.
Okay.
I'll tell you what jittery nerves is, Rob.
Fucking Frank, man.
Jittery nerves is when you go to work and you have about fucking $7 worth of Taco Bell for lunch, and then you come home and you're like, hey, let's grill some chicken, and your wife's like, no, I want Taco Bell, and you're like, fuck. That's jittery nerves, because you know you're taking your life into your own hands at that point. Even if you just opt for the $5 box after the $7 you spent for lunch, eating $13 worth of Taco Bell in one day.
Right. You're definitely going to have to get like a nice filter for that asshole picture later.
Yeah, it's $12 worth of Taco Bell. 7 plus 5 was 12.
We're not mathematicians.
Nonetheless, it's going to look like someone, you know, like one of those brushes you use to comb like a really hairy dog with.
Mm-hmm.
One of those really gnarled brushes.
It's going to look like a punched donut.
Looks like someone beat your asshole with one of those. Just got mad at it. That's jittery nerves right there, Rob.
Definitely.
I'm not questioning whether the American military and the American public had jittery nerves at the time of this attack.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
But think about what this country was like post 9/11. We quit letting fucking brown people fly in planes. That is not a racist remark. That's what we fucking did for weeks after the attack.
Yes. Everyone
that wore any type of cloth on their head was immediately deemed a terrorist. Those what are those, Sikh guy, the S-I-K-H?
Yeah.
Is that what Sikh, is that how it's pronounced?
I think so.
Psych. Those are nice fucking guys.
They really are.
Oh, the most fucking awesome human beings in the entire world. Terrorists. They are, according to America at that time, they're fucking terrorists also, but just, I've never met nicer humans in the entire world. I don't think they listen to our show.
Definitely not.
No one that practices that listens to our show.
No.
Now, Secretary of the Navy Frank Knox, he also said that it could have been commercial aircrafts piloted by the enemies to strike fear. That feels like he's trying to soften the American people up for what they might have actually thought it was. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
No, not
These
at all.
press releases did little to calm the public. There were reports popping up everywhere from civilians and military service members alike attesting to the fact that there was something in the sky that night.
Yeah. There's no doubt that there was something there. I mean...
Yep. Now, a week later, the Secretary of War, Henry Stimson, what he said goes against what the Secretary of the Navy said. He said there were 1 to 5 spacecrafts of some type, whether they're jets.
Yeah, some type of,
fucking spaceships. He just said
some UFOs.
some type of aircraft that were buzzing over LA, and they were attempting to locate anti-Air Force equipment. They were just pretty much doing a recon mission. At that time in American history, I don't see Japan coming all the fucking way over here from Japan just to look.
Yeah.
If Japan was coming over, it was to wreck some shit.
Or just
sure.
to scare us. Right.
Yeah. And over 30 witnesses came forward about the objects they saw in the sky that night. And there was tons of first-hand testimony for years. One colonel said he observed over 25 enemy planes cruising at around 12,000 feet over LA shortly after the alarm. That's completely different than one large aircraft hovering over.
Yeah.
But if you had what some said was a aircraft as wide as 500 feet, that's what some witness accounts said, with a bunch of fucking UFO lights on it, I could see how you would mistake that possibly for 25 enemy planes. One person came forward that said they observed swarms of plane with more than 200 in the group. And that's pretty excuse me. That's some pretty serious accusations there.
That's a lot.
You just don't see. You might see one or two planes, but to come out and say, I saw fucking 200, I saw a swarm of 200. For me,
seems a little bit of a reach.
It's definitely a reach.
An exaggeration.
But to say that it's hard to make sense of they saw 200, then there's no fucking way that it was just one plane, or just one small object.
Yeah, the numbers vary a lot.
They do, but what doesn't vary are the amount of accounts. There was a lot of firsthand testimony about what they think they saw in the sky that night. They said it. There was one account that said it hovered over LA and it moved in a way that seemed to defy physics. So it was just up there fucking wilding out.
Hanging out.
Just flossing and shit. I got my PlayStation controller fixed. I've been playing Fortnite again. Fucking terrible. Fucking garbage, Rob.
Yeah, I can't play that game. I'm so bad.
An official report for this incident. Okay, so we're in 1942. That is like 200 fucking years ago. A long time. But sorry, my phone is just going absolutely haywire over here. The first official report related to this incident wasn't released until 1982.
That's a good chunk of time there.
40
years.
Fucking years.
Yeah.
It took him 40 years to say, there was a weather balloon. Now, this report was called The Analysis of West Coast Defenses During World War II. So I would imagine this wasn't even completely directed at the Battle of Los Angeles itself.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been a lot of different things. It could have been pertaining to Pearl Harbor, but what this report said is specifically about the Battle of Los Angeles is it was a weather balloon, and the whole entire thing was a false alarm. That the imagination, and this is right from the report, the imagination created targets that weren't really there, and everybody joined in. So what the government said is these people weren't really seeing what they were seeing. Their imaginations were making things up in the sky.
Okay.
But they can say that in 1982, 40 years later.
Right.
They can say whatever the fuck they want 40 years later.
You have tons of eyewitness accounts that all...
And about this time, someone that was 20 years old in 1942 would be around 60 years old, which is nearing the end of their life in, 1982. So it would be, but they had a lot of people come forward around that time and said, no, that's not what the fuck this was.
Yeah.
A couple of presidential memos were declassified in 1974 by the FDR Library. These pertain to the February and March 1942 memos sent by General George Marshall to FDR regarding the air raid over Los Angeles. Now, they were completely contradictory to what was briefed to the public at the press conference, and these memos were labeled Top Secret, February 26, 1942. This is a memorandum for the president. It says the following is the information we have from GHQ at this moment regarding the air alarm over LA of yesterday morning. Quote, from details available at this hour, one unidentified airplanes other than the American Army or Navy planes were probably over Los Angeles and were fired on by elements of the 37th California Brigade, AA, between 3:12 and 4:15 a.m. These units expended 1,430 rounds of ammunition. Number 2, as many as 15 airplanes may have been involved, flying at various speeds from what is officially reported as being very slow to as much as 200 miles per hour and at elevations from 9,000 to 18,000 feet. Number 3, no bombs were dropped. Number 4, no casualties among our troops. Number 5, no planes were shot down. Number 6, no American Army or Navy planes were in action. Investigation continuing. It seems reasonable to conclude that if unidentified airplanes were involved, they may have been from commercial sources operated by enemy agents for purposes of spreading alarm, disclosing location of anti-aircraft positions, and slowing production through blackout. Such conclusion is supported by varying speed of operation and the fact that no bombs are dropped. And there's to keep going with this, it says General George C. Marshall, Chief of Staff, the second memo, so there were 2 memos, dated March 5th, George C. Marshall writes another top secret memo to the president, which states, quote, regarding the air raid over LA, it was learned by Army G2 that Rear Admiral Anderson recovered an unidentified airplane off the coast of California with no bearing on conventional explanation. This headquarters has come to the determination that the mystery airplanes are in fact not earthly, and according to secret intelligence sources, they are in all probability of interplanetary origin. Now this, what I'm reading right here, was taken from the Majestic 12 files that are heavily scrutinized among government officials and UFO specialists. Now, the Majestic 12 was a group of people put into place to discuss, not necessarily discuss, after what happened at Roswell, the president, I think it was Truman, it might have been FDR, I'm not 100% sure, but they made a super secret group called the Majestic 12. They put together a bunch of fucking bureaucrats of the government, you know, the major to-do people, and they said, we want you to investigate the bodies and the aircraft that were located at the Roswell crash. And part of the files is what I'm reading to you right here. It also goes on to say, Marshall goes on to state, as a consequential, have issued orders to Army G2 that a special intelligence unit be created to further investigate the phenomenon and report any significant connection between recent incidents and those collected by the director. So that right there is, we can't say for sure if it's true or not, because the Majestic 12, that whole entire project has been allegedly debunked by the FBI, but they've lied to us before.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it even says that, you know, they recovered an unidentified airplane off the coast of California with no bearing on conventional explanation.
And you can look at the PDF documents that I have here, and they couldn't look any more real for the times. Whether they're fabricated or not, I can't say for sure.
Yeah.
And another eyewitness account was the editor from the LA Herald Examiner, Peter Jenkins. He said, I could clearly see the V formation of about 25 silvery planes overhead moving slowly across the sky toward Long Beach. Also, Long Beach Police Chief J.H. McClellan, I watched what was described as a second wave of planes from atop the 7-story Long Beach City Hall. Navy observer Carl Zeiss counted 9 planes in the cone of the searchlight. He said they were silver in color. Now, one gentleman that is deceased now, his name is C.S. Littleton, he went all over the country telling his story about what he saw. He was at the MUFON conventions and all kinds of just UFO consortium type deals. And he said, quote, what captured our attention was a silvery lozenge-shaped bug, like a flying dildo. It's not his words. As my mother later described it, whose bright glow was clearly visible in the searchlight beams that pinpointed it. Although it was a clear, moonlit night, no other details were visible, despite the fact that when we first saw it, the object was hanging motionless almost directly overhead. Its altitude is hard to estimate, especially after all these years, but I guess that it was somewhere between 4,000 and 8,000 feet. Residents who lived just north of Baldwin Hills saw it clearly. It was round with a slight hump in the middle. A woman named Katie said it was huge, elliptical in shape with a brilliant orange glow. I think we quoted her earlier.
It's pretty.
Yeah, it was just a stereotypical UFO, everything you see in the movies. Just a big dome sheep or a flying saucer with a dome. Now, Japan, they came forward and said, no, that was not us. We had nothing to do with that. That's my most favorite part of the story. Even if it inflicted the slightest amount of fear on the American people, even the most minuscule amount, Japan would have said, yeah, that's us. That was right as fuck, that was us.
They went up to Pearl Harbor.
Right-o, doggy-o, you're going to fucking push your shit in on the West Coast. So, if they were coming over to butt-fuck all of us, Rob, why do you think they would start in California?
I don't know.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Rob. Look back. It's not good. Have I ever told you my San Francisco story?
No.
Okay. I was at San Francisco Giants baseball stadium. And I used to go to all these baseball stadiums. And when I would go to the bathroom, I would pull my pants and underwear completely around my ankles to piss. And at the San Francisco Giants stadium, I was doing my thing. I was pissing like a 4-year-old. I'd take my pants and my underwear, drop them all the way to my ankle, stand at the urinal, and I start pissing. And the guy next to me, he looks over, he says, oh, man, I wouldn't do that here. I fucking reached down and fucking pulled my pants up so fucking fast. I about chopped my wiener off with my pants. I pulled my fucking pants up so fast.
I just love how honest he was about it. You don't want to do that here, buddy.
It wasn't like, I wouldn't do that here, buddy. It was like, oh, I wouldn't do that here.
He learned the hard way. I used to do that a couple of years ago.
Last time I did that, I got fucked so hard. I haven't shit around stool in about 6 or 7 months. But yeah, Japan, they said, you all got the shit scared out of you, but it wasn't by us. It was by something else.
Makes you wonder.
And then in closing, there's certain research. There's certain research that was put out there that said wind patterns and flight direction of the object rules out a balloon. As the UFO reversed its course and firing began another 20 minutes after the first round of shots was over. What we do know is that 5 years before Roswell, the military had started its UFO cover-up.
Dun, dun, dun.
So what do you think, Rob?
It's definitely not a weather balloon. And I think that if it was an experimental aircraft, that I don't know if it could have sustained so many shots, or free, like the free hover.
Oh, so, yeah, dude.
I mean, especially in those times.
Especially as an experimental aircraft.
Right,
That's
exactly.
Like building something out of popsicle sticks as a kid. You're like, look, Mom.
And I mean, especially if it's one aircraft and people say that it appears as if it's 20, so if it's that large, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I really don't know. And
that's what I tell some people.
I'm perplexed.
They're like, how big is it? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I got a big one. Maybe I got 20 really small ones. Who fucking knows? But you pull your pants down, you had just like 20 little dicks hanging there. How cool would that be? I like to call them my other nipples. But the thing about this episode is, there's no way for sure to say what happened here. As in some stories we tell, someone dies in the end.
Yeah.
A family gets justice over a ghost. Certain things happen. But we don't have the answer to this one.
No, I mean, I would say that it seems easy to rule out the other explanations. So it's crazy whenever you're doing whenever you're doing one of these, and the most likely explanation is an alien aircraft. And I've been on the record saying, I don't believe that any of them have ever been to Earth, but I mean, it's like you get things like this, and you just don't know.
Right.
What else could it be?
There's some people that say, I've met a lot of people in my travels now that say, hey man, you ever hear about that alien in fucking New Mexico? I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I don't fucking care, dude. Whereas you start to do the research yourself, and you see why these fucking people are so manic about this stuff, why they're so crazy about it. Am I going to lose any sleep tonight over the Battle of Los Angeles? Abso-fucking-lutely not. But am I going to think about it next time someone says, hey, you ever heard about the Battle of Los Angeles? I say, yeah. That's the time that I think the U.S. government probably tried to cover up something that wasn't what they said it was. Whether like you, I feel like you're leaning towards the side of an experimental aircraft of some type. Whether it did get shot down.
Yeah, that was my initial thought.
And they just kept on firing on this motherfucker.
Could be, yeah. I mean, I know another thing they said was, another thing I read, that they used the old flare excuse to, not the Ric Flair. Woo! But, yeah, I mean, all that just seems really far-fetched. Like, I mean, I originally thought experimental aircraft, but, like, after everything, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I think it was one.
Spice Peanut.
Hey, it could have been.
Well, and we have an interview with Dustin Collins now. This is his Patreon episodes. So we're gonna dial him up on the Facebook Messenger real quick.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think it was.
Yeah, send us a message.
Is it Thud?
Was it Thud swinging his big dick? Think it was.
I want to know.
And hi, I actually got another friend request from you from on Facebook. I'm so sick of this Facebook fucking scam shit.
I have no idea what's going on. I've seen people talk about it. I have no idea what it is.
If you get a friend request from me, you get a friend request from Nick or Rob, consider yourself blessed, because we don't fucking send friend requests.
No. Yeah, I don't do it. I've turned my friend requests off because I'm fucking sick of getting them.
I'm scared of people. Some people will send me, like some of you I've developed pretty close relationships with.
Yeah.
And those of you, you know who you are. But then there's some people that listen to one episode of the Brahio and they're like, oh, I want to see pictures of Nick's kids. Not today, you're not, you sick fuck. Not today. But, if you are one of the one, I consider you all friends, but if you're one of the ones I consider a close friend, I love you very much. But I love all of you.
Ditto.
Very deeply.
Yeah, and your moms.
So thankful for all the support you provide us. But without further ado, here's Mr. Dustin Collins. I'm just kidding. I didn't push the fucking button. Now I push the button. All right, we're back.
We are.
We got Dustin Collins here. He said we can call him whatever the fuck we want.
This was his episode tonight.
What's up, Dustin?
Oh, not much. Just waiting for you guys.
Yeah, I know. We're keeping you up all night. And if we were there with you, we'd be keeping you up all night too, if you get my drift.
Hey.
Hi.
Well, I love nighttime anyway, so I'm usually up late.
That's good, man. Well, first off, I just want to say thank you so much for your Patreon pledge. We are super excited for this episode. You gave us the choice of a few different topics. You did give us the Axeman of New Orleans, which I started to do the research on that. I was like, man, this is a crazy fucking topic.
Yeah, it is.
But then we've been doing a lot of true crime lately. But Dustin, he was the savior. He said, I want a fucking alien episode. And I said, all right, Dustin, we're going after these aliens, man. So how did you stumble upon the Battle of Los Angeles?
It was probably at least 10 years ago. I was on Google looking at mysteries and the paranormal and alien cases and all that. And the Battle of Los Angeles was one of the first things that came up.
Right.
And I was immediately hooked by the iconic picture of the searchlights in the sky.
Yeah, we talked about that. We're going to use that as the cover art for this episode, so people can get a really good visualization of how fucking serious this thing was up in the sky.
Yeah. It's hard to not get hooked after seeing that picture because it's like it's there. You can see it.
Yeah, it really catches your eye.
Yeah. Now, is there any other specific? Now, are you a big? See me, I'm more of like a casual observer when it comes to aliens and UFOs and whatnot. Are you super into aliens and UFOs, or this kind of Just one of those things that you thought was an awesome story.
I'm not really hardcore into aliens, but I'm a pretty big alien guy.
Okay.
I'm also big into like cryptid, creatures.
Oh
and,
yeah,
Nice, gotta love those.
I love that shit.
So at this point, we've already finished the entire episode. So me and Nick have both kind of gave our, kind of talked about what we think happened. What's your ideas on what you think it is? Do you think it was aliens?
I knew this question would come up. I thought a lot about it, and I'm not real sure. But if I had to guess, I don't really think there was aliens that night.
You think it was? You think it was like a weather balloon, or?
Well, not really, because that seems to always be the excuse. It was a weather balloon.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But I mean, I want to believe there was like Independence Day, like a big UFO creeping into the sky.
That's fucking hot.
But I'm not real sure, and I don't know if we'll ever know exactly what happened.
I doubt we will. And I mean, my initial train of thought was going to be, which is what I said, was that I believed it was like in some sort of experimental aircraft that, nobody had seen before, but at the same time, it's like at that time period, and for all of that artillery to be fired at it and it not be brought down, that's kind of what, turned me away from that theory. So, I mean, it's like, what else can it be? Because I don't buy the weather balloon at all. Just like you said, that's always the weather balloon thing.
Yeah. Well, see, I also thought how much shit they shot into the sky.
Yeah, it was close to
seemed
2,000
like nothing
rounds.
got hit.
Yeah, that was the most damning part for me is no matter what it was up there, whether it was an experimental aircraft, whether it was a weather balloon, whether it was what it was.
The Millennium Falcon?
If it was something that got that much shit shot at it and it didn't fucking damage it, or say it's like, sometimes my cat follows me into the bathroom, and if it gets too close to the toilet, I just piss on her to let her know, like, hey, this is the fucking danger zone, babe. You take a step back, this gun's blazing. So what, and these rounds didn't even cause this thing to, scurry off. And we read it, and it kind of, we didn't touch on it a whole lot, but at the end of the episode, we said, this fucking thing left. It went 20 miles away, and a lot of people don't know that, and it fucking came back for another round of shit. It said, yeah, fam, you ain't got shit down there. You're gonna need bigger fucking guns than what you have right now. But yeah, it left and then came back for more.
That's, the whole artillery thing, that's what makes me, completely disregard the weather balloon theory, because I mean, that fucker would have been popped. It wouldn't have hovered for as long as it did.
Yeah.
And fly away and come back. Like, that's not, they don't do that.
Yeah. So one question I have for you, Dusty, as far as, I think you told us you're in Indiana, right?
Yeah.
Or is that still where you're at, is in Indiana?
Yeah.
So you're not too far away from where we're at in Dayton, I don't think.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah. Now we got Wright-Patterson Air Force Base pretty close to here, which is fairly well known in the UFO world. In your opinion, do you think America has experienced contact with extraterrestrials or UFO spacecrafts at all?
Yeah, I think we have.
You do?
Yeah.
I think, and Rob and I were talking about that, I think there's, even going past aliens and past UFOs onto other stuff, I just feel like there's so much. I'm not one of those 9/11 truthers or someone that just loses their mind over what the government's doing, but I think there is an insurmountable amount of things that they are not telling the truth about, even just beyond UFOs and aliens, but just everything that they're not forthcoming and telling the truth about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, Rob and I were debating about aliens and their genitalia. So you knew what you signed up for, Dustin. You knew this is Brohio, and you knew these questions. We're going to give you some hard-hitting, in-depth shit, some good content. And Rob and I were debating about what their genitalia possibly looked like. I said they had big jagged dicks that looked like wood saws. Rob said they probably had really smooth vaginas like a frog's mouth.
More like a Ken doll. I don't think there's like a mannequin dick.
In the brain, they got green rockets, not red rockets. In the brain of Dusty Collins, what do you think the alien genitalia entails?
Well, I think the females probably have sharp teeth down there.
That's fucking terrifying.
Just like real women.
Yeah.
And the males, they can probably move it around like a...
Oh, that's so fucking cool. Like a fishing pole. Just like fucking flip it around. Hit her. Knock her teeth out before... You'd have to knock her teeth out before you fucked her. We do that in West Virginia here. Knock her teeth out before we fuck her.
See, I was thinking they had to go asshole to asshole, and then one's dick comes out of the other one's, out of the asshole into the other one's.
They just fart in each other's butts, and that's how they get each other pregnant. That felt so good.
Smelled horrible.
I'm sorry we did this to you, Dusty.
That's what we do.
I was expecting it.
Right. You sound so sad about it. I'm sorry. How long have you been listening to us two fucking nutbags?
Since spring.
Okay. Do you have a favorite episode besides obviously this one that we're about to put out tomorrow? You just think we fucking?
I
you just think we fucking suck all the way around? We do suck pretty bad. What's your other go-to podcasts?
Well, I've recently like Graveyard Tales.
Okay, yeah, they're good.
I think they're pretty good.
Yeah.
But,
so you're into the paranormal as well?
Yeah, big time.
Well, while we have you here, have you ever had any paranormal experiences?
Not really, but I went to an abandoned house years ago, and there was like a doll with its head off.
Were you raped?
No, God.
And I found a school book from like the 1920s, and I brought it home with me.
Wrong answer, Dusty.
You done fucked up.
You done fucked up, Tyrone.
And there was one day it was nighttime. I was on the computer, and I heard 3 knocks. It was late at night. I heard 3 knocks in the kitchen, and it didn't sound like it was on the door or the window of the door.
Did you spray mud?
And
I would have.
I don't know if it was someone stranded on the road that was knocking on the window, but
that fucking book, Dusty. It wasn't no one on the fucking road. It's that goddamn book you brought home.
Yeah, I threw the book away.
That's probably a good call.
I'd have taken a big shit in it and slammed it like it was fucking last day of school on that motherfucker. Snap.
But other than that, I've never seen a UFO. I've never experienced anything paranormal other than that.
Well, I feel like this episode of the Bro Ohio podcast is going to be the catalyst for you, Dusty. I really feel like you might be abducted in the near future. You've opened up Pandora's box, because if you remember, we had an incident. The last time we did a really serious UFO episode was Men in Black, and they took our fucking podcast down for about 12 hours. Like, we were scrubbed from the internet for 12 hours.
It was wild.
Because we were blowing the top off the government secrets.
Yep.
And we're doing the same thing here. So when they fucking call me tomorrow, I'm going to give them your phone number and tell them this is all your fault.
Okay.
I don't care.
Yeah, Fuck you.
Fuck it.
Going down in a blaze of fucking glory. All right, buddy. Well, do you have to work in the morning?
No.
Okay, that's good. So I'm sorry we had you up, late waiting for you, but I'm ecstatic we got to talk to you. You sound like a fun guy. If I ever find myself down over in Indiana, I'm gonna meet up and we're gonna do some butt chugging, Dusty.
That sounds great.
Oh, hey, you guys should do a live episode in Indianapolis.
In Indy, we would love that. That's a major.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before because it's such a big city and it's so close.
Is Indy pretty close for you?
It's about 2.5 hours.
God damn! Indiana's fucking huge, man. It's
Yeah,
like
it
it's
is.
tall.
Yeah, it's like what, like an hour and like 15 from us, something like that.
No, I can get there in 40 minutes from here.
Okay.
I can get to Richmond in 40 minutes. We go down there and buy some goddamn fireworks, and we let
fireworks,
them
yep.
motherfuckers on fire, and then we come back to Ohio, man. Because we can't get fireworks in Ohio.
Nope.
They don't fucking trust us, Dusty.
Besides that stupid shit they give you at Walmart,
Yeah.
snakes and sparklers.
You guys got all the fancy fireworks there in Indy.
Oh yeah.
Or are you up north or down south?
I'm like southwestern. Like I can get to Illinois in about 45 minutes.
Okay. All right. Well, Chicago is another one where we're opting to possibly have our next show, but Indy's definitely on the
Pittsburgh's
on
going to
the
be
map.
there.
Yep. And then Columbus. There's a lot of them we're thinking
Some places
about.
in Tennessee, or in Kentucky. There's a lot of the big cities we want to hit around us.
But honestly, we'll probably die from heart problems long before then, so it's not a really big fucking deal.
Bring it on.
So, all right, Dusty. Well, thank you so much for taking our call and for the interview
And for a good episode pick.
yeah,
Thank you.
we-
Yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to the episode.
Well, if you're gonna be up, dude, I crank this shit out. Like there's
It'll-
two things I can do in under 60 seconds, and that's like put out a podcast and fucking go to the bathroom to jerk off.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
up.
that's important. You got to get that in.
Yeah, you do.
you gotta be, if you can be timely about it, then you're in the gold, man. If you can go in the true test of a man is how quick he can jerk off in a porta-john. That is the true.
That's a good test.
If you were dealing with a man with some strong testosterone, if he can crank one out in a porta-john in under a minute 15, you got a real fucking sexual deviant on your hands.
Yeah, you do.
You ever jerked off in a
Yep.
porta-john before, Dusty?
No, I don't plan on.
No, me neither. That's fucking disgusting. So, all right, man. Thank you so much.
We appreciate you.
We really do appreciate you. And like Rob said, thank you so much for picking an awesome topic. I feel like sounds like you kind of dig into the research and a lot of different stuff. So if you think of anything else, I think we'll definitely hit on the Axeman. But if you have anything else that you think would catch our eye, shoot it our way, and we'll be happy to turn it into an episode for you, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Okay, I got like 20 topics.
Fucking send them over, dude.
All right.
Our list is short, honestly. We have a very short list of what we're gonna do. So shoot that stuff over to us, and we'll take a look.
Okay.
All right, take care, man.
Thanks, man.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Dusty Collins.
Thank you.
Fun episode. Fun guy. I think he was holding a lot back. on us right there. I think he wanted to go full fucking crazy alien guy, and he just like, no, I don't want to do that to those guys. I just
Let it rip, man.
save it for another episode. And I'd love to talk to him on a Patreon episode and really dig into his brain and see what he's thinking about all this shit.
We'll work something up.
We will. We'll go to Indiana and fucking sit with him. Fucking sit on his face.
Good times.
I don't know if he would like that.
Hey, only one way to find out, right?
If he doesn't like us sitting on his face, he can sit on our faces, and everybody likes that.
Definitely.
And if you are still listening,
Why? No.
please don't ever come back. Now, the next episode, I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be something softball sized because I have to.
Yeah, we got to crank out research for some live shows.
Yeah, because not only are we going to have audio representation, we're going to have visual representation.
Yeah, maybe we'll just finish up our Q&A.
Yeah, maybe. But I feel like if we do two Q&As that close to one another without a ghost story or a murder story, they'll all fucking quit us, Rob.
Maybe we can just do our Q&A like we're ghosts.
Yeah. No, we have all the research done for Boogeyman, too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we did. We did that a while ago.
Baba Yaga. All right.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yep. So thank you so much, guys, for listening. We love you so much.
Yeah, come. Don't forget about our live shows. Come see us.
We would nothing would make us happier than to meet all of you.
Yeah, October 20th, October 27th.
Yeah.
One of those two.
We'll put links in the episode description.
In the doodah. But thank you guys. We love you.
All right. We love you so much.
Bye.
Bye.